Hear you well. Go ahead.
All right, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. Josh is our tech person, and he's been wonderful so far. Good afternoon. This is Phyllis Lucas with Qualistar. Lori Beckel is also on the call, and in fact, she is the lead of the call. I'm facilitating the call this afternoon. I want to welcome everyone to the Pyramid Plus Qualistar Information Webinar. There's been a wonderful response to this opportunity. I know that all of you share our belief that this is important information and important work. We are excited here at Qualistar to embark on this collaboration with Lori and her colleagues, and it begins today with this conference call. Just a few housekeeping tips. We are a lot on this call. I believe Lori has told me that there's close to 50 that have registered for the call. So Lori will do a presentation of her PowerPoint slides, and we do ask that, that you put your questions into the chat box. You can see there that you can type a question in, and we will answer them. Lori will take questions at the end and answer your questions. And this is because of the numbers. We only have an hour for this call. So I want to thank all of you for coming on. It's great for the interest in this. And thank you, Lori. And Lori, if there's nothing else you'd like me to do at this moment, the call is yours.
All right. Thanks so much, Phyllis. Well, hello out there to all of you Pyramid Plus supporters all around Colorado. Very exciting that you all were able to make time for this call. So we are going to get started. The way we plan to do this call is I'm going to present a cursory look at the new Pyramid Plus Center here in Colorado, just so you all are familiar with the purpose of this center, how we're funded, what our goals are, etc. And then we really do want to begin to talk about our strategic partnership with Qualistar Early Learning, the Resource and Referral Network in Colorado, and the Qualistar coaches. So that's pretty much the way we're going to do things, trying to get through the information so you all have that first, and then we really do hope to have a reasonable dialogue, given it's a little hard to have a dialogue with 50 people. We'll do the best we can. My contact information will be at the end of the PowerPoint, so I am very happy also to have any further conversation with any of you after this call. So let's begin. The first slide really shows you the information about, you have our nice new little logo for the Pyramid Plus. The second slide talks to you all about the way the Pyramid Plus Center is funded. We are at the University of Colorado at Denver, but we are funded by the Division of Child Care, the Division for Developmental Disabilities, the Early Intervention Program, and the Division of Behavioral Health. You all might recall that there was an RFP that went out this past summer, and the University of Colorado at Denver, the people, Barbara Smith and Phil Strain, who first brought the CEPHL information to us and made Colorado one of the first CEPHL states 3 years ago now, were the group that put together the successful RFP. The overall goal of the Pyramid Plus Center is to ensure the high-fidelity implementation in early care and education settings of two national models. Those models are the pyramid model, and then the Technical Assistance Center on Social Emotional Interventions, or TAXI, This used to be the Challenging Behavior website, and it is now called Taxi. The second model that we will be promoting and implementing in Colorado is the Special Quest Birth to 5 approach. And that is about inclusion of children with or at risk for disabilities. There are two really important pieces to our overall goal, and that is the importance of high fidelity implementation to us, and then the other thing is the relationship we'll have with these two national models as evidence-based models. You have a list of our objectives. You will see that we will be providing some training and support. In a minute, I'm going to show you how small our staff is. So we're not going to be staffed up to provide a lot of statewide trainings. Our model really is going to be around, we are going to support then the trainers and coaches who will then become the local certified people doing the coaching and the training. So we are going to be primarily providing training, technical assistance to the trainers and the coaches that we hope to build out in cadres over the next many years. We will be also, Abby and Barbara primarily have an important role in working with the state collaborative interagency team. So those are our funders, plus important other state people who are helping with this state rollout. So those are the important objectives related to our work. Here is our staff. So Barbara Smith is the director of the Pyramid Plus Center. Abby English Walbaum is the project coordinator. Julie does some of our financial work and that kind of the administrative function. So they're on the administrative and systems team side. And then the training and technical assistance side of our center is led by Phil Strain, the co-director. My role is as the coordinator of training and technical assistance, and will be the person who is primarily developing and then carrying out the certification process for our coaches and trainers. Kelly Wilson and Johanna Berry-Wasser are both full-time on this project. Everyone else I've mentioned thus far is part-time. Kelly and Johanna are two full-time people, and that they will be out there in the field working with the demonstration sites and doing the lion's share of the training and technical assistance. And then we are lucky to have Edie Purcell. Edie has a very small amount of time on this project, but she is the one that gives us capacity for providing training to some of our Spanish-speaking providers. She is bilingual and a highly talented trainer. So having her on our project is just a wonderful thing, but we just don't have a whole lot of her time. The next slide really talks about the values that we bring into our work here in the Pyramid Plus Center. And we really are going to be about developing sustainability at the local level. So while we are here kind of at the state, we really do value and will continue to build our partnerships, not only with our state partners like Qualistar, but also those of you who are out in the communities, because we realize that is where sustainability for this for many years to come. We really see this as practices that should be sustained now over time and not the flavor of the month, but that the pyramid model strategies as evidence-based strategies are strategies we want to promote and just ensure that we can sustain them for a good long time. You will see on this last bullet a very important way that we envision our work, and that is that we really believe that these strategies are designed primarily to enhance the competencies of those providers and parents who are with children day after day, hour after hour, and that this is a proactive approach, wanting to really get those people confident and feeling confidence in their skills with children. And this is our strategy rather than a strategy of coming in and wanting to remediate problems of children, families, and personnel later on. So we have a very strong dedication in the fact that we want everyone who has a classroom or every parent in their home to really feel like they are the expert when it comes to their children. These are our pivotal concepts. Everywhere we go these days, we're talking about the tiered approach. And the pyramid model is certainly, as you all know, a tiered approach that starts with those universal practices for all families, all children, the targeted practices for children at risk or children who are beginning to show some social difficulties, and then have strategies using behavioral assessments for those children at the top of the pyramid showing challenging behavior. We have a strong belief in using evidence-based practices. We'll talk about that in just a minute. But with funding and resources being as slim as they are right now, it just makes great sense to us to invest in practices that we know work. The other thing about that is that when we can teach people practices that do work, they're reinforcing to them. They see success and are really able to kind of have their behavior reinforced by the results they can see in their classrooms. Teaching to fidelity and this whole notion of fidelity. And part of the notion of fidelity is that it has to be demonstrated. It's very hard to say that we have reached fidelity in a practice without having that fidelity demonstrated. And so that is going to be a large part of our certification process. You can read the rest of those concepts. We have a couple of slides that do talk about the definition for evidence-based practices. And again, these are the practices that have the research behind them to show that they have demonstrated effectiveness. The other thing about the evidence-based practices, and this is the Dunst and Trevette explanation here at the bottom, is that it really speaks directly to what the practitioner can do to produce a desired outcome. So with evidence-based practices, we really shift the locus of control back to each and every one of us and what we are doing that is being effective. I have been in practice for a long time, and a good deal of my practice was related to how I was going to support and try to fix children and families. And we really have shifted in our field back to ensuring that the practitioner has the best tools that will produce the kind of best support and and teach the kinds of skills to children and families that will be helpful to them. Here's a definition of coaching. We have a group in Colorado that has worked very hard to develop the beginnings of the Colorado Coaching Consortium and what the role of a coach is. Coaching is a practice that is a practice different from supervision in that it is a very focused, skill-based support process. And our certification process will be teaching coaches through a number of very specific coaching activities how to then provide this expert coaching to people learning these strategies. Our major work scope components here are listed. I think you can all read those. Some of them we've talked about. Our technical assistance approach, again, is going to be a tiered approach where we will have available to anyone in Colorado at the new pyramidplus.org website, which if it isn't up today, I know Abby has been working very hard on it, and it will be up within the next several days. And it's at www.pyramidplus.org. We hope to have lots of resources eventually, including we'll have some other webinar information on there, and as well as a lot of other just visual information that can be obtained from the website. We do have some targeted training, and that's certainly what I want to talk with you all about, because you'll be partners, I hope, in joining us with some of our targeted trainings that we are planning to do. And then our intensive technical assistance will be related to the certification process for coaches, trainers, demonstration sites, and communities. So, what does this mean to all of you? I think we have a tremendous respect in the fact that you all out there have been doing this for a long time, and there is no question but that your support for young children and families is the infrastructure that now that is there to promote quality and child care, and is there for us to partnership with as we begin to scale up the Pyramid Plus model work. So I'd like to just talk with you about, in terms of the targeted technical assistance, we would like to propose that we partner with the resource and referral programs out there in Colorado to do some beginning training. The trainings that we would propose would be 2 one-half-day sessions. We have in our budget this first year to do 8 total of these in Colorado. The topics for the 2 one-half-day sessions would be building positive relations, supportive environments, teaching social skills and emotional literacy. So really some specific topics. This is not going to be an overview training. This will actually be getting into some of the meat of Modules 1 and 2. We are primarily going to be focusing these trainings, though, on the preschool modules. So we're talking about children 2.5 to 5. The reason for that is that the infant-toddler modules are under revision. We also need to make sure that they really speak to important partners of ours in the Part C community, the early intervention people out there. So we're still in the midst of really revising those modules to make them fit the needs here in Colorado. So that these first targeted trainings really will be focused on preschool. We would like to coordinate those through the resource and referral agencies. And since we will only be doing 8 this first year, we need to make sure that they're geographically equitable throughout Colorado. We will be able to do limited trainings in Spanish, but again, I'm going to have to probably underscore that we'll have to do those in a limited fashion. We want to cap these at about 50 participants and would really hope that home providers would be able to participate in these as well. These will be scheduled to meet the needs of providers, and what we would suggest is that they be scheduled so that one half day, the first half day happens, there will be some homework that people leave with and then come back a couple of weeks later for the second half day. So that's going to be the way that we would suggest that these be scheduled. So in terms of next steps for that, what we would suggest for you all is that you first of all determine the interest with your stakeholders for participating in this preschool module training. That what we would like for you to do, and this is going to be the resource and referral directors out there, would like for you then, following your thinking through how you would like to do this, what you think the interest in your stakeholders is, to contact Johanna. You have her contact information there. Johanna is going to want to get some additional information from you, such as in your communities, are there trained people already who have been through the module training? Because again, everything we're doing, we want to have an eye towards sustainability. So what we'll want to do is to potentially train with those people so that we're continuing to support them into perhaps the certification process for becoming a trainer, etc. We may want to know things like what kind of data are you already keeping related to social emotional development and other kinds of child outcome data. Something else that actually we were discussing the other day is many of you may remember the Children with Challenging Behavior survey that Qualistar sent out probably now 3-4 years ago, and the fact that that led to a report that went to the state legislature. We may want to bring that back and actually use that as some pre and post data so that we can begin to track the impact these trainings will be able to have. And so anyway, we're going to want you to be thinking about how do we measure the impact, because our funders are going to want to know those kinds of things. We also will make sure that you have a press release so that if this is something then that you would like to use as a community awareness opportunity, we will be providing you with some of that information. And I realize that there will probably be a lot of questions about this, but I'm going to go on to one more piece, and then we can, Phyllis, go back and start kind of taking some questions. So as I'm talking about these things, any of you who have questions, go ahead and start sending them so that we're ready to start answering them when I finish this presentation. All right, the other thing that I wanted to talk with you about is we are hoping that people out there on this call will be interested in becoming certified trainers and coaches in the 2011 cadre. For people who have not had the module training yet, we will want you to come to the spring module trainings. And we will be offering the full modules, and we will be offering both preschool and infant toddler. So it would be possible for someone out there interested in becoming a certified coach and or trainer who has been through the preschool modules but would like to also be certified in the infant Todd modules to come to the spring training and come to the infant Todd modules. That will be very possible. We're planning to do these trainings in April and May. And there will be, for those of you who are interested in that and get back to us about this, we will make sure that you get on the invitation list. Following the spring module trainings, and if you are interested, you will receive an invitation to BER, and we will want to make sure we get those back by May 31st. As you can see, there is a cost for this certification. The coach is $1,500 and the trainer is $1,000. The trainer is somewhat less only in that there will be fewer of our time involved with reviewing trainer work than the coach work. So that's why the coach is more expensive. The cost of certification will also include the training costs for the Summer Institute in July, as well as the fall training, which will primarily be focused on inclusion, and then a policy summit in October. So those costs are included in the cost for the certification. So for those of you who are interested, you will want to contact me about that so that I can get your name on the list. I see that Sharon has asked the question about getting a copy of this PowerPoint, and we have all of your email addresses, and we'll ensure that you get a copy of it. So, and then there is my contact information. So again, feel free to contact me with any questions you have about the Pyramid Plus Center, these targeted Module 1, Module 2 preschool trainings, and then the certification. So, I'm going to also ask that we unmute Abby. Abby, I'm going to unmute. Josh, can you do that? Or I do that, I guess.
Abby, if you could hit *7 on your telephone for me, that will unmute your personal phone line and you'll be live in the conference.
I think I did it.
Great. Abby, could you just open your book? And we're getting some questions. We're getting some questions about dates for some of the trainings.
Okay.
So could you review the training dates for the spring training? What is important that I mention is that the cost of the certification that I just went through does not include the spring training. There will be a cost for that, and Abby, I think it's $250.
Yep, it is. And it's going to be at the Embassy Suites in Denver, the one in the Tech Center, and it's going to be April 15th and 16th for the first 2 days Lori mentioned, and then May 20th and 21st for the second 2. The times are 8:30 to 4:30 each day. Check-in starts at 8. And the $250 for all 4 days includes materials, continental breakfast, lunches, and breaks.
And then Abby, just for grins, do you want to give the July Summer Institute dates?
That's going to be July 13th through 16th in Breckenridge. Just so you know, that contract with the hotel is not signed, but we're 99% there on that one.
And again, the Summer Institute will be reserved for people who are involved with the certification process. So that group will be the group that will get, I think it's 2 full days with Glenn Dunlop and his advanced work on dealing with challenging behavior in children, as well as program-wide work with Mary Louise Hemeter. Lisa Fox. So that's what that's going to be. And then the dates in October for the fall, again, this will be for people going through the certification, will be October 18th, 19th, and 20th. Is that right, Abby?
That's right.
Yep.
And that one will be back in Denver, again at the Embassy Suites Denver Tech Center.
So Annette, you just got the dates in July. You asked about that. Karina, hi, you're on the phone, and Karina is asking me about mentioning the training. We are doing 3 days of infant toddler training in Grand Junction in a couple of weeks. Those dates are the 20th, 21st, and 22nd of January. And I think there is still room, in fact, a lot of room in that training. Let's see, maybe what we can do. So Josh, can I unmute Karina and have her give her
Hi, Karina. Karina, if you would hit *7 on your telephone, that will unmute your personal phone line, and you'll be in conference with us.
Okay, does that work?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So
do you want to just give your information, Karina, if people want to contact you about that training?
I will. We are doing an infant toddler training with the Pyramid Plus Center for 3 days, January 20th through the 22nd, like Lori mentioned. If you're interested in participating, we're doing it at a reduced cost of $50. And that really is just to cover the space, the snacks, and the copying materials. You can contact me at 970-244-3801 or send an email to Karina Otero, it's CORINAO at htop.org, karinao@htop.org.
Thank you, Karina.
And Karina, this is Phyllis. Have you sent me that information? Because I would be very happy to send it out to my email list if you have a registration form.
I do. I will send that to you as soon as we're done.
Okay.
Thanks, Phyllis.
You're welcome.
All right. Annette Crawford asked the question, can you take the spring module training but not become certified? And the answer to that is yes. We fully expect that there will be, I think we're imagining around 100 participants coming to the spring module trainings. And not everyone who comes to the spring module trainings will really want to proceed with certification. Basically the way those invitations, the way that's going to be handled is that there are a number of slots that have been reserved for the child care community. There are a number of slots that have been reserved for the early intervention community. There are a number of slots that have been reserved for the Division of Behavioral Health and the mental health consultants. And then there are some slots that are kind of a potpourri of other, the Special Quest partners and others who will be invited to that training. So I need to hear from you if you're interested in certification. Phyllis, I'm not exactly sure how Rosemary Allen is going to deal with the number of slots she has for people coming from the child care community, including the resource and referral people. So I'm not, maybe everybody could just go ahead and respond to me if you're interested and let me know if it's just spring training you're interested in, if it's spring training and maybe certification, or if it's for sure spring training and certification. And I'll just keep a list, and I guess we'll just get back to Rosemary and talk with her about how to divvy up the slots. Because if all 50 people on this call came, quite honestly, I think that's more slots than Rosemary has.
But wouldn't that be wonderful?
But wouldn't it be wonderful?
Yes.
It's terrific. Terrific. This is very, very exciting to us. So Abby is reminding me to say that people who come to the Grand Junction Infant Toddler training, actually that is the full module training. So if you came to that and then you also were interested in continuing on with certification, that certainly would be very possible. And if you wanted to come to that instead of the spring training, since you saved $200 that you could put towards certification, you certainly could do that. Spring training for both preschool. So Jane Nelson is asking about spring training, and we will do side-by-side module training. So it's not going to be the combined preschool and infant toddler modules together. You will sign up for which modules you want to attend. So we'll do the 4 days of preschool modules, and then we'll do the infant toddler modules separately. Gosh, I'm caught up on questions. So Annette Crawford asked, do you expect to have a second certification training in the future? And the answer to that is yes. We hope to build this exponentially. So what we're hoping to do is the people who've been involved with the pyramid model work, those coaches and demonstration sites, are involved currently in the certification process for our first cadre. We hope then that those people will be able to help us certify the next cadre. And we hope then to be able to just continue to develop the capacity for certifying more and more people as coaches and trainers and demonstration sites and communities over time, just using this same model, that people who become certified, part of what they do is that they certify others. We will want to continue to ensure, though, that we don't have model drift, because as you remember in the slides, we are really dedicated to fidelity. So we will be asking that people become recertified, and they will be doing that every 2 years. Okay, so you will have plenty of opportunities for this certification process. So Cheryl Shushan is interested in spring training. We'll need to take a closer look, so that's great. We will be getting information about spring training to Phyllis, so watch for it in perhaps an upcoming email message from her. Oh, did I make a mistake? Is it 3 years for recertification, Abby? Sorry. Let me take that back. 3 years. Every 3 years for recertification. So now I don't know, do any of you, are there some resource and referral directors out there who kind of have any thoughts or questions about these targeted trainings? Can you imagine how you might do those? And again, I guess I should mention the Pyramid Plus Center will not be charging you for our trainers coming in to do those trainings. We have no problem with your charging as Karina is to cover your costs for the trainings. That would be a decision you would make. But I'm just wondering if you have any other questions about that. Okay, so some questions are coming in now. So Shirley Ritter out there suggests that a targeted training held maybe in Glenwood Springs for that part of the state. So that would be fabulous. And because we'll only be able to do 8, really do see some of you R&Rs working together to offer the training for perhaps a larger area than you cover, and you can kind of get together and collaborate with those resource and referral agencies who are next to you. We are hoping that you would be willing then to handle all of the logistics for those trainings. So after speaking with Johanna, would handle the registration, would handle all of the logistics for setting up the training, etc. So Annette says that Boulder would probably be interested in hosting a Spanish training. Okay, so again, thinking about our limited amount of training we have with our Spanish-speaking trainer, Annette will be working on that with you. Yeah. So Kathy McCallum says that there's a waiting list for people wanting the training in the community. So would be very interested in accessing the module training up north in Larimer and possibly Weld. And that's great that you'll handle the logistics. And Cindy is saying the same for Pueblo. I might mention that we have demonstration sites in programs throughout Colorado. And Pueblo is our one community demonstration site. So Cindy and I are working on what it looks like to roll out the pyramid model from the community into the from the sort of larger community into then programs in the community. We've been actually building this from programs up into the community. So we're also wanting to take a look at what that looks like. What is the timeline for conducting the targeted trainings? So that's what Annette asks, and I'm thinking that you mean when those might start. And I believe the 2 trainers who will be Kelly Wilson and Johanna Berry-Wasser are prepared to start scheduling those trainings possibly as early as February, and that we plan to schedule those trainings through the rest of the year. So I'm thinking that they might be starting to schedule them pretty quickly. Where are the other demo sites? So we have demo sites at a child care program, a private nonprofit child care program here in, I believe it's in North Glen maybe, called Bal Swan. They are famous for a lot of their work with children who have disabilities. And actually they have signed an MOU with us. We're in the midst of talking with the people who have been our demo sites to find out if they want to sign the MOU to become a certified demo site. And Bal Swan was the first child care program that did. We have had demo sites who are looking at the MOU at Creative Options, a Head Start program that serves Aurora children. We have a demo site in the Mesa County School District. And then the Pueblo folks are our community demo site right now, and we're in discussion right now. I'm sorry, Johanna says Broomfield. That's where Bal Swan is. Thanks, Johanna. And Norwood is the other program that is considering the MOU and looking to become a demonstration site. So that's kind of what we're doing with those. Kathy McCullum asked, what is Qualistar's role in all of this? So Phyllis, you might want to add to that. But do they anticipate making Pyramid part of their rating or coaching process?
Hi, Kathy, and thanks. We're really at the very beginning of this collaboration and partnership. This call is the first, and we're pleased to be on it. So some of that has to be worked out. I think Lori would agree with that.
Yeah, I would.
And the second part of your question, Kathy, that's really sort of a Geneva Hallett piece more than me. So really, I have no answer for that. As you are aware, Geneva is continuing to look at the rating and has had a focus group recently with that. I don't know if you were part of it. I know that there are people on this call that were part of it. And that's in the works, but again, that's more Geneva's piece than it is mine.
I think we're all interested in the whole issue of quality. And Paula Neff joined the state team 2 years ago and has really been a very active member of the state team related to what does quality look like in these programs. And we know that quality has to include supporting the social emotional development of young children, as well as ensuring that we are supporting the social emotional wellness of all of our providers. So I think those things are all linked, and this Pyramid Plus Center work in combination with the state team will be looking at the ramifications of all of this in lots and lots of systems. So it's a very exciting day for all of us. And I know many of you out there have been working on this for a very long time, just like I have. So it's very exciting. So I'm just wondering, any last minute questions? The other thing, Josh, I believe there is a evaluation for this call, is there not, that I really want to encourage people to fill out?
Yep, so go ahead and hit Stop Web Conference in the upper left-hand corner for me, and that'll pop up your evaluation form.
Okay, so as soon as I give you all just a minute to ask any last questions, we'll do that, but I sure would appreciate any the information on the evaluation, as well as any further kinds of things that you would suggest. I'm mindful of, again, some information that you will be able to find on our website. We will be putting together some further webinars. Kelly and Phil are working on putting together some webinars that will be available, I believe, in March. And these are going to be related to children with challenging behavior specifically, dealing with some of those kind of issues. So go to the website if it's not up right now. Abby, when is it up right now?
Not yet.
Okay.
I'm working on it. It should be, I would say, by early next week.
Okay. So check there, and on the Training and Technical Assistance website, or the page, you will be able to track our progress putting together the other technical assistance offerings that will be available to you all. Okay. Gosh, I don't see any further questions. I just want to thank you all for joining in today. Sorry that I did all the talking, but I really look forward to hearing from you.
And I also want to thank you, Lori, for the presentation. I think it gives everyone a lot to think about as we move forward with this.
Great. Well, thank you, Phyllis, and thank you for all of what you do out there. You all do a great job, and we really are looking forward to partnering with you. So I'm going to end this conference and give you a minute to fill out the evaluation before you're on to your next things. Have a very nice afternoon, you all. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
So Josh, are you still there?
I'm sorry?
Oh, Phyllis. You're still there.
We're still at a live conference. You bet. I am here, though. How you doing?
Okay. So is everybody else still there, or just the people who are talking?
Anybody who didn't hang up is still on the line right now. Can you look up there in the upper left-hand corner and see how many phone numbers are left?
Oh, I see. So do they?
What does it say? Audio number.
Audio number 13.
Okay. So maybe we should. You want to reconvene in a few minutes?
Yeah. So we'll go
and so let me just ask a question. Everyone's supposed to be seeing what I see, and that's the conference feedback. Is that what we're looking at? Okay.
Well, there's a little conference feedback page that the participants get a little different one than the co-presenters typically, I believe. But yeah, I don't know if we put questions in there or not, to be honest with you. So, but either way, they got a feedback page to at least provide their thoughts.
Okay. Okay. Good. Well, Lori, if you don't need me any longer, I will say goodbye and thank you so much.
Thank you, Phyllis. The only thing that I would ask is if you hear any further feedback about this, certainly let me know. Okay?
Absolutely. I will forward anything that I get.
All right. Thanks
so
much.
And if you need me to, forward out anything, I know you have all the participants' emails, but if you want it to be a little broader for those, because I did notice that